Hello Resi drivers, welcome back to yet another video. This is another immigration video. Now I'm going to give you some of the latest developments that I've come across, but after I've given you those latest developments, I'm giving them for a reason. After that, I want to talk to my fellow Zimbabweans, my fellow Africans about something. So really I would advise you not to skip this video, but I put chapters so that you can choose to watch what you want to watch, because I know we've got busy lives and people can't always watch everything, which is fair enough. But like I said, I've got something important to say. So anyway, I've come across new developments as I was doing a bit more digging, curious to find out what is going on in the visa world. So it appears the problem with migration, the level of migration, net migration into the country, into the UK that is, it appears we still got a problem because the Prime Minister Keir Starmer is now looking to Italy for solutions as to how he can cut down on net migration, especially the small boats. He's gone to Italy to look at how they've done it, how they're doing it, and he's looking for pragmatic ways to stop immigrants coming into the country, especially illegal immigrants. Because like I said in my other videos, after those scandals, the visa scandals, what was going on with immigration, the government put measures in place to ensure that scams don't happen anymore. So what that means is whoever is now coming to the UK is coming legitimately. Like, they face less danger of being scammed because the process is now airtight. So it means everything is now above board. If you're coming to the UK to work, it means you would have been offered your job, processed the right way, and when you come, you face less problems. Okay, so that is good. As far as I'm concerned, I see that as a good thing. However, it appears as if while some doors are being opened, some are being shut, especially on overseas workers. And I came across something yesterday which I want to share with you in this video. So what I've uncovered is that there are certain specific measures that have been put in place to make sure that the UK does not rely on overseas workers to cut down on net migration into the country. Because according to the statistics, according to the news, according to what's out there, the UK is full. The UK can no longer cope. So that is why these measures are being put into place. According to the sentiments that I'm getting, the UK is not doing this to punish people. Now, I want you to mark this point because of what I'm going to say at the end of this video. Remember, I said there's something I want to say to my fellow Zimbabweans, my fellow Africans especially. But this could apply to anyone anyway. So these measures are not to punish Africans. They are not to punish anyone. And fair enough, if the UK can no longer cope, then they have to take measures to make sure that things are fixed. So what are these measures? The first one I've already mentioned. The Prime Minister is now looking for real solution. He's now looking to outside help. He's going to Italy to find out how they're doing it. So that's the first thing. The second measure is that the government is going to task a committee, Migration Advisory Committee, to monitor and to actually pinpoint the problematic areas, those areas where there are skills shortages that are causing a high rise or a surge in net migration. So this is one measure the government is taking. They want to find out where there's like a surge in overseas recruitment and do something about it. The third measure the government is taking is that they are going to tighten, if they haven't already, they are tightening the visa sponsorships, the issuing of the visa sponsorships, and they're actually monitoring the companies that are recruiting overseas workers. And if a company is found to be going against their policies or the government guidelines, then that company is going to face strong action because of that. So this is another measure that the government is taking to cut down on net migration. Now, these measures are in addition to the measures that have already been taken. So they keep tightening the measures to make sure that these visa sponsorships are not abused. To do that, the government is going to ramp up the investigations. They are going to actually revoke the licenses of companies that are going to be found wanting in that area. They're going to take away their licenses. They're going to suspend their licenses and so on. I mean, this has already started, but as I said, this is like an additional measure that the government is taking. And the government is also doing this to protect the immigration system and also to stop the abuse of migrant workers. Because according to the reports, according to what's out there, there are companies that are just recruiting migrant workers to abuse them in terms of cheap labor and so on. I mean, there are all manner of ways that migrant workers can be abused. I've made a video actually about how immigrants or migrant workers are exploited. I'll put a link in the description so that you can check it out. I have made several videos actually, but that one I dedicated it specifically for the exploitation that happens to migrant workers. So as I was saying, the government is putting measures in place to make sure that that doesn't happen again, because as we have seen in the last 2 years what was happening, I mean, people, immigrants who were coming into this country were finding themselves in a desperate situation because they had been lied to. Of course, this is not the experience of every migrant worker who has come to the UK. There are good stories, happy endings, but I'm highlighting the challenges because that's what this channel is about. I highlight challenges so that we can discuss, we can find solutions. As I said in my other video, from time to time, I get emails from people in Zimbabwe asking me for advice as to how they can come to the UK to work or how they can get a job to work in the UK. And when I get these emails, sometimes, I mean, it breaks my heart because reading the emails, I can see, I can feel the desperation. And how I often reply these emails is that I go on the internet, I do a bit of digging, I find out which companies are sponsoring people to come to the UK. And I find out the ways that people can come, especially now. I try to find out the latest information. And I send those links so that someone can read for themselves. And I also offer my own advice as well. And honestly, most of the time, I don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say. And I wish I had a magic wand. So what is that message I have for my fellow Zimbabweans, my fellow Africans? What is that message? This is the difficult part. This is the part where I get a lot of backlash from my fellow Africans. And I don't mind. I don't mind because I think in 2024 and beyond, we can't keep lying to each other. We can't keep sugarcoating certain things because, as I already said, the UK is full. The UK can no longer cope. You saw what happened a few weeks ago. I mean, this is what I want to say. And despite the backlash that I know I'm going to get, I'm going to say it anyway. Now is the time for Africa to sort itself out. This is the time. It's time for us to stop running away. I've said this in some of my videos. It is time for us to find solutions, homegrown solutions to our problems, because we can't keep running away. And yes, I put my hands up. I'm one of those people who ran away, and I always say this. And when I say this, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite because I have this platform. So I have to use it for what I believe in, for what I think is right. And what I think is right is for us to be honest with one another. There's no point in me telling you everything is hunky-dory because it's not. It is time for us to fix our countries. I mean, just read the comments. Read the comments from the natives of this country. I mean, people will always migrate from country to country. That has always been the case. People move from country to country. It's normal. But this is a different situation. We're talking about a situation where we are making running away or moving or relocating to other countries. We are now making that the default to solving our problems. That has now become our way of dealing with our challenges. Now it has become a different issue. There's a comment that I got from one lady. She's a native of this country. I'll see if I can find that comment. If I manage to find it, I'll put it on the screen. That lady said something that stuck with me. She said, don't you worry about the future of your children. Don't you worry about the next generation. Why do you keep running away from your countries? Don't you worry about the future of your countries? I mean, she didn't use those exact words, but that is what she basically meant. That stuck with me. It really made me think. I mean, at the time, when I read the comment, I felt, oh, here we go again. Here's another hater. But upon reflection, I realized, you know what? This lady is not hating at all. She's just being honest. Mind you, I'm now maturing as well. I'm no longer in my 20s. I no longer think like someone who is in their 20s or even 30s, because I'm now past that. So at some point, you've got to mature in your thinking. And also, you mature in terms of the way you look at the world. Because for me, this goes beyond the stomach. It's not just about my stomach. It's not just about my family. But I'm looking at the future of our country. I'm looking at that person who is back in Zimbabwe. I'm looking at that person who is in the rural areas of Zimbabwe. That's where my mind is now at. And I'm looking at the child who was born today in Zimbabwe. I'm looking at the child who's in the classroom in Zimbabwe today. What are they looking forward to? Because what they are seeing is Zimbabwean graduates who can't wait to skip the country the moment they graduate, who are dreaming as they go to university, as they go to college, they are dreaming about running away from Zimbabwe. Those are the people I'm thinking about right now. I'm looking at the future of Zimbabwe. In 100 years, 150 years, 500 years from now, I won't be here. But guess what? Zimbabwe will still be there. Zimbabwe will still be there. Don't you want our country to survive? And how is it going to survive without the people that matter inside of that country, contributing towards its betterment? How is the country going to survive? So that's what that lady who left that comment made me realize. Yes, my life is okay. I ate this morning. I'm going to eat again this afternoon, and I'll eat my supper. Tomorrow it goes on. But is it just about me? Is it just about my stomach? What's going to happen? Yeah, so that lady's comment made me think. She made me reflect. And this is where I'm coming from with this. I don't know what you think. Let's talk about this.